No! Not here! Not in this video! So, you all can clearly see the title, you can see the thumbnail, and you know what you're in for. I'm taking one of the most infamous characters on the internet, and I'm trying to pair him with one of the most infamous D&D concepts ever devised. So first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. If you don't know, there's a system in Dungeons & Dragons called alignment that guides players on how their characters would generally behave. There are 9 different alignments in D&D, and they are separated by the philosophies of law, neutrality, and chaos, and the moralities of good, neutral, and evil. If your character is lawful good, you would tend to behave in a way that follows the law and the benefit of others. Sounds simple, right? Oh, my sweet summer child. You have no idea about the rabbit hole that we're about to descend. Let me explain. You see, dear viewer, while you may have a very clear distinction of what is considered lawful, your best friend, or just literally anyone else in the world, likely has a much different idea of what they would consider lawful. The argument of alignment is such a problem that during Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition, they almost abandoned the concept altogether. I have literally seen couples break up and friendships end over alignment arguments. To say that this is controversial is like saying, insert American political joke here.
You weren't supposed to do that.
So, just to diminish some arguments, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to define on how I will be handling alignment in these videos. If you have any disagreements with me or anyone else, honestly, that's great. I'd like to think that we're all mature enough to discuss this civilly, but let's face it, this is the internet. Worst off, we're nerds on the internet. For example, I have a pinned comment down there in the comments section that says that this image right here is a rectangle. So, yeah, that comment that this shape right here is a rectangle, it's just gonna sit here all by itself. And you guys aren't gonna argue on that, I bet. No siree. We're all better than that. Aren't we? So, let's define some terms. For these videos in particular, I'll be using lawful to define acts that refer to duty, honor, loyalty, promises, contracts, and the benefit of the many. Chaotic acts refer to acts that are beneficial towards the individual. Law is for groups, chaos is for individuals. Obviously, neutral is somewhere in between. Good acts will be defined by the benefit of others. Self-sacrifice, generosity, kindness, mercy, integrity, and all those nice things they tell you to do in school. Easy definition. Now, I'm pretty sure the word evil is what's going to trip up a lot of people. In these videos, evil acts are going to refer to largely selfish actions. Because we are dealing largely with protagonists in pop culture, it's unlikely we'll be seeing too many really evil actions. But there are plenty of places where they do selfish, mean, or rude things. In these videos, evil actions are those that deliberately harm others, remove agency from other characters, or things in bird culture that would be considered a dick move. We judge a person's alignment by 3 major things: what they say, what they do, and the intent behind them. When starting any sort of game, most characters start with an alignment but often shift to other alignments as they continue the adventure. The idea of this particular video is to see where a character starts in the chart and what they become by the end of it. It's fun seeing character growth, and if their progress is natural, it's satisfying to see the result as a conclusion. Now, I'll go ahead and give an example on how the alignment system works by using a perfect example: the last brownie in the fridge. Now, this is JoJo's brownie. My wife and I ordered 9 brownies from Domino's a few days ago. Hashtag not sponsored, but definitely could be hashtag sponsored if you know what I mean. Each of us got 3 brownies. Alex and I each ate 3 brownies, and JoJo ate 2. Now, giving JoJo the last brownie would classify as a lawful neutral act, but there are ways that giving her the last brownie with different intentions could change this. If I let JoJo eat the last brownie before eating her carrots, even though I told her she had to eat her veggies first, that would change the act to a neutral act. If JoJo snuck into the kitchen late at night and ate it without me knowing, that would be a chaotic neutral act. Now, let's say, for example, JoJo invites some friends over. If she gave them her brownie without having any herself, that would be lawful good. If she split it, that would be neutral good. If she got into my secret stash of shared cookies again, and then she shared her cookies with her friends again, that would be chaotic good. As for evil acts, let's say she was sent to bed without dessert. If I ate that brownie out of technicality and say that she lost the dessert, I would be committing a lawful evil act. If I took the brownie from her because I was hungry, probably neutral evil. If I threw it in the trash because I knew it would make her upset, chaotic evil. Now, roll it out of the way, let's get to Shrek. Shrek is an ogre from the swamp. He lives by himself and does things for himself. He isn't a bad guy, but he doesn't go out of his way for anyone else either. He's shunned by others and has no love for the law, order, or society. Knowing all this, I don't think it'll be too controversial to label him as chaotic neutral. However, throughout these movies, let's see if his alignment changes at all. I'll be going through most of his movies and judging his alignment as if I was a DM that cared about that sort of thing. Also, just for funsies, since we're treating this under the lens of a D&D campaign, I'll also have some dice rolls up there in the top left-hand corner. Anyway, here we go! Let's find out what alignment is.
He once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Starting alignment, chaotic neutral. Shrek could have easily taken these guys apart, however he chooses to scare them off rather than use violence. Neutral.
Please.
Shrek shows compassion by allowing a stranger to stay the night. Neutral good.
And back where you came from.
This act is hard to pick since he's doing this for selfish reasons rather than doing this for the well-being of others. However, since he has no sense of malice and is just looking to be alone, I classify this scene as neutral. Shrek is fighting the knights and having a blast. He showboats, cracks jokes, and pals around with Donkey. It's not clear if he's killing these knights, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and choose to believe he's knocking them out. Chaotic neutral.
Quest?
Shrek agrees to a quest rather than attempting to solve a problem with more violence. Lawful neutral. This scene is meant to show that not only is Shrek uninterested in being evil, but his outward appearance and race doesn't really reflect his true nature. Shrek is trying to demonstrate that even though the world sees him as a monster, he's much more than that. He's complicated. There's more to him than just being what's on the surface. And he's choosing to explain this to Donkey and trying to relate to him. Neutral good. Shrek is fulfilling his duty to Farquaad by rescuing the princess. He doesn't have to slay the dragon. He never promised that. Lawful neutral.
Well, I have to save my ass.
Shrek's first lawful good act. Shrek has no obligation to Donkey, but he feels he has the duty to his new friend and comrade. He makes a crass joke about it, but without a doubt, this might be the most noble moment that we see on screen.
Hey, I'm no one's messenger boy, all right? I'm a delivery boy.
Just because he's saving a princess doesn't mean he has to be nice about it or even show her dignity. Lawful evil. Shrek is strong and completely capable of forcing Fiona to do whatever he wants. He even punctuates the point when he jokes to Donkey about trapping her in the little makeshift cave. Neutral good.
Swamp toad soup, fish...
Shrek and Fiona have gained a friendship and have decided to stop for the night, even though Duloc is right there and they can complete their quest. This sidetrack is to stall and enjoy each other's company more. They also begin to explore each other's feelings. Chaotic neutral.
Princess, I've brought you a little something.
Shrek, misunderstanding the situation, turns Fiona into Farquaad. He does this because he'd rather do that than talk or work through his feelings. By doing this, he sort of removes Fiona's agency from the situation, and because he does this as a selfish act rather than talk about it, I classify this as lawful evil. But more accurately, it should be described as lawful dick move.
Didn't I? You're not coming home with me.
Following that up with this blow-up with Donkey, rather than let Donkey talk things out with him, he steps all over him and throws him out. Neutral evil.
I'm sorry.
Shrek talks about his feelings and comes to respect Donkey as his friend and accepts his advice and listens to him. Neutral good. Shrek interrupts a wedding for his own selfish reasons. He thinks Fiona might like him, but he honestly has very little confirmation on that. Chaotic neutral.
Donkey,
Yes, Rumi?
you're bothering me.
Shrek and Fiona kick out Donkey for alone time. They're as polite as they can be, but they are in the honeymoon phase of their relationship, so like, love you dude, but scram. Neutral.
We are not going, and that's final.
Shrek makes his opinion very clear that he doesn't want to go through with this and tries to force the issue, but eventually goes anyway. Yeah, this is a marriage joke, but it also shows he's willing to compromise a bit. I would argue this is a neutral good act.
Happy now?
Shrek immediately tries to take his wife and run. While totally justified, is completely chaotic neutral. Shrek isn't having none of the king's sass. He returns all of his insults with his own passive-aggressive taunts. Definitely a sassy response rather than nasty. Chaotic neutral.
Despicable behavior earlier.
Okay.
Shrek acknowledges that both himself and the king were acting like ogres, and is willing to give him a shot for Fiona's sake. He agrees to meet him for a hunt. Lawful good. Shrek agrees to spare Puss in Boots because he's cute. Arguably chaotic neutral, but definitely more along the chaotic good side.
We're from the Union.
Shrek lies to get past the guard. However, considering all of the methods he could have used to get past him, I'm leaning towards neutral. However, if you had suggested chaotic neutral, I wouldn't argue with you. Shrek steals a potion for his own benefit, but he uses it to give up being an ogre for Fiona. Chaotic good. This is just funny. Shrek could have used diplomacy or bluff or anything to convince the noble to take him to town or lend him his clothes, but instead he decides to run with this weird scam with Puss and Donkey. Definitely chaotic neutral, but this is something you could just imagine D&D players pulling off in this kind of situation.
Aye. And that's why I have to let her go.
Shrek sacrifices his own happiness for Fiona's out of love. Neutral good.
Hit it!
Natural 20 scene. Shrek and his friends use wacky and creative ways to break into the palace in order to save his wife from kissing another guy and falling under the fairy godmother's curse. This is so good. You could even say it's chaotic good. Fiona's father is sick and Shrek needs to take care of the royal duties for him. Also, just as a side note, this movie is a nat 1 for me. I just don't like it, but I'm going to give it credit just because I really like this scene.
Shrek,
Yeah?
you look handsome.
It's such a supportive wife thing to say, and I love it. Really supportive partner in general. It's a great reminder that these two are a power couple and nothing will change that. Lawful good. I'll be honest, guys. Shrek took the news that his partner was pregnant way better than I did, and frankly a lot better than most people do. Even though it clearly isn't something he wants initially, he keeps himself in check for his wife. Neutral good.
I know you're busy not fitting in.
What? Shrek makes fun of D&D nerds? Chaotic evil! Bad Shrek! Bad!
I'm really the only heir.
Shrek tells half-truths in order to shirk responsibilities that he doesn't want onto another person. Lawful evil, but if you think neutral evil, I wouldn't disagree with you.
I'm on the job!
Once the cat gets out of the bag and Artie realizes what being a king means, Shrek forces Artie to go along with him anyway, despite his protests. Neutral evil.
But after
They make up later though and have a good heart-to-heart, and Shrek takes some jokes at his own expense to make Artie feel better. Neutral good.
I just needed some fool to replace me, and you fit the bill.
Shrek humiliates Artie in front of Charming in order to save him from execution. Chaotic good.
Oh, if you don't mind, could you kill me and then sing?
Shrek, true to form, cracks jokes and does a bunch of stuff to make sure Charming isn't enjoying the execution. Chaotic neutral.
Wait, back when the world made sense.
You mean back before you rescued me from the Dragon's Keep?
Exactly.
Oof, okay. So I totally get Shrek is stressed out, and I think that his small roar breakdown was totally justified, especially since he could have played it off as a joke, but, yeah. This is arguably the nastiest we've ever seen him get. Between smashing his kid's cake, shouting like a maniac at strangers, and saying something like this to your wife, parents, this is why it's important to take breaks once in a while. I'm gonna have to give it a chaotic evil.
Why is it the only person who can't see that is you?
No thanks. I already had a big bowl of curly-toed weirdo for breakfast.
Shrek showing that he's a good guy again by helping a random stranger who just insulted him. Neutral good.
Go on, Shrek.
Shrek knows that this deal is shady and selfish, but he does it anyway. And while it could be argued that he tried to make it the deal in such a way that it wouldn't harm him or his family, this is definitely a selfish move. Lawful evil. Shrek realizes that he's in an alternate universe, but still attempts to save his best friend. Neutral good. Reconnecting with your AU ogre wife through violence? Chaotic neutral.
But if any of these ogres find out that I'm
A beautiful princess?
that is not who I am.
Shrek knows that telling Fiona the truth will fix everything, sure, but he's also doing this for his sake by interrupting the mission to do this, but, you know, he's doing it for love, so chaotic good?
That means you have to give me anything I want.
No. Only true love's kiss can break your contract. So if you thought you were just gonna do in here and get your life back,
I'm not here to get my life back.
then what do you want?
Another one of Shrek's best moments, exploiting the contract Rumpel set up to free all the ogres in a self-sacrifice power move. He accepts his loss and tries his best to free Fiona as well. Also, the climax that follows this and the reconfession of his love is pretty good too. Honestly, natural 20 scene, and lawful good.
I got the chance to fall in love with you all over again.
Whatever happens, I must not cry. You cannot make me cry.
So, let's see where we ended up. As you can see, Shrek started as a chaotic neutral typical ogre, but throughout the course of 4 movies, he has grown to love and care for a family. And I think that's why this character is so beloved by many. Shrek is a surprisingly consistent character with his actions. Throughout his movies, he's performed mostly chaotic and good aligned actions with a few questionable shaking moments. Some of his actions were hard to pin down, but I believe I remain mostly consistent throughout the movies. If you think I missed anything important, be sure to tell me the event that I missed and what sort of alignment that you think it was. Or if you think I was totally off a mark on a few of these, feel free to leave that sort of comment too. I read all the comments, it's just with the sudden influx of new subscribers, I can't respond to all of them. And boy, I can't wait to do another one of these. Be sure to subscribe in order to see the next one. We have lots of D&D style content coming down the pipeline with a huge variety of stories and other video essays. And man, this one was a ton of fun. I really want to try this again with another character. And oh, in December, a new Star Wars movie is coming out. Maybe I should try one of those then. That gives me over a month to make a video. That's pretty good. It sure is a good thing that there isn't another popular sci-fi series coming out soon that I need to take a look at. Oh no.